All week long.
Oh,
There it is.
there it is. Gavel is being hit. YouTube's being funky today, guys. I don't know if any on your end, but Mikey and I both noticed something.
Oh, it's been a wild ride already. We haven't even got started yet. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
We're just gonna sit here for an hour and watch people walk by. If you look in the glass here, you'll see people walk by. That's what we're doing.
Is that where they sit the people for the executions? Like, they're sitting over there waiting for it to happen.
Yeah. Does that look like a tiny ass little room too, doesn't it?
It looks scary. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like something bad, really bad, could happen up in here.
It's either that or it's where the Muppets do their thing. Remember, Muppets 3D, and you look up.
Yes, that's it. That's what the projection room.
Yes, yeah. Actually, got a hell of a show lined up for you today.
Yeah, it's a doozy, and I'm going to give a little bit of a warning. If you get triggered by donos, you're in the wrong place.
I'm not triggered by donos at all. Love it. Thank you, Shelly. Good day to start the day as a conductor. I like that.
Thank you, Shells. So there will be some explanation of some violence and things like that. So go ahead and get that in your head. We'll probably just be doing this one case today as a protective order between a very young man and a very young woman that have a kid. So, got all those things playing into it. I cut out all the little extra stuff at the beginning, kind of explain that. We're going to start by the guy. He's going to be his own attorney. So that's always great. And she has an attorney that has one of the best British accents you'll ever hear in the courtroom.
Does that mean he can charge more? Or
I mean, sounds smarter, right? I mean, that's got to be worth a few bucks. And look at that.
Terminator looked damn smart.
Wow, Terminator hit the lottery yesterday or something.
No. It's just she don't drink anymore, and today she decided it's Thirsty Thursday, and I'm gonna get drunk and send money.
Well, that is a blessing.
Appreciate
either
that.
way.
A blessing, just like with TPO orders. This happened today, right?
Yeah, it just happened about an hour ago. And with these, you have to, if you don't record them right away, you don't see them, because as soon as he says, all right, that's what we're doing, boom, they're gone. And typically we're with Judge Manning. We'll see Judge Manning do a lot of these. But today we'll be with Judge Andrew Hathcock. We've seen him before in Travis County, so we all know who he is. We'll do some stopping and things like that. We need to talk about some stuff, but this is a very intense case. And Andrew, I will give Andrew this much credit, like this much. He did say, I'm not going to dispute any of those things. So, but he's got requests.
I have a question. Am I losing my mind over Kedra? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, so it's a hard name.
Is that like a DJ standing up? Like, is he DJing on the ones and twos on top of the dresser with a mask on? Is it a cat? Is it a cat standing up with a hoodie and DJing at the dresser?
Well, what's kind of weird is there's coats hanging in the corner. Then you got a black dresser that runs into that, and there's a bunch of stuff sitting on the dresser. So it does give an optical, I believe it's called.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. Now that you explained it, I can see that. Can you see where I'm?
Yeah.
You're DJing cat, I guess. Anyways, let's do this.
DJ cat.
In my life, I won't deny any of the allegations that they've made against me about the past history of violence and
some really bad stuff
and the abuse and that. When the case first started, I believe I didn't have the best intentions in my mind. I was trying to take my son away from his mother. I was under the impression that she was the worst mother in the world. Now I feel as though I've grown over the past year, being away from her, being kept from her with the protective order, and having my time to move on from that relationship and dark time that we were in. I can see now that she's an amazing mother. She takes care of my child better than I think I could at the moment. So I just want to say that I'm not here to fight.
His opening statement really builds her up even more.
Peace. I
Yeah.
just want equal
Is he her
ownership
attorney?
of my child. I just, I'm here to make everything reasonable.
Her attorney hasn't even spoken. I'm scared.
You should be.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say, Mr. Boyer?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Simone, any questions for Mr. Boyer?
Can I reserve my questions for after the cross after my client testifies?
Uh-oh.
Okay, you can recall Mr. Boyer. This is
Call
part of
having
your
a game
case if you
plan,
wish.
Creed.
Mr. Boyer, is there any other witness you wish to call or other evidence you wish to present?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then petitioner rests. All right, Ms. Simone, your first witness.
Thank you. I call Kadara Robinson.
All right, Ms.
Kadara.
Robinson, if you'll
I think that's how you say it.
raise your right hand to be
Go with
sworn.
that.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony given this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yo.
Yes, sir.
Your audio is a little bit low. If you can either increase the volume or kind of lean in and just project, I think that'll work.
Is this better?
Yes, that is.
You
All
sure?
right, Ms. Simone, you may proceed.
Okay, we'll go with
Can
that
you
too.
please state your full name for the record?
Kadara Zai Robinson.
And are you asking the court today to be appointed the sole managing conservator of Hayden?
Yes.
Ooh, going for
And
the
how old is Hayden?
He is 2.
And when does he turn 3?
November 9th.
And are you asking to be the sole conservator because of the significant violence and abuse committed by Mr. Boyeren?
Yes.
And so have you
Tomato, tomato.
previously been in a dating relationship with him?
Yes.
And when did you first start dating him?
We started dating July 4th of 2018.
No.
And how old were you
Celebrated the
then?
fireworks that night.
I was 15.
15, Creed.
And how old was he?
He
40.
was 16.
Okay.
And when did you separate?
We separated officially December of 2021.
Okay. And can you tell the court what kind of things has Mr. Boyeren done to you during your relationship?
He has physically, verbally, mentally, and sexually assaulted me.
And can you describe to the court what kind of injuries have you suffered at the hands of Mr.
boy.
Boyeren?
I've had concussions, an abrasion on my forehead, a black eye. I started bleeding during pregnancy as well. I've had bruises all over my body as well as scratch marks.
Okay. And
Remember, he said, I'm not going to deny any of the allegations
That's
of
true, he
past
did that.
abuse. So all these things, just keep in mind, he's saying, yeah, that was me.
You did.
This guy.
have you had to call the police in the past?
Yes.
And when was the first time, do you recall, that you called the police?
February 27th, 2020.
And can you tell the court what happened on that day that led you to calling the police?
I asked Andrew to come home because I had a suspicion I was pregnant. We got into an argument that led into a physical altercation of
So in case you missed that, she said she called him to come over because she thought she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And that turned into an argument. So I'm guessing he was
Yeah.
not too happy about that situation. And at least I will give her this. She did call the police, which a lot of these
Point.
women do not.
me being physically harmed.
Very true.
Okay. And were there criminal charges filed?
Yes.
And did he go to jail at all in the beginning?
He went to jail for 24 hours.
Okay. And do you know what happened to the criminal charges?
They got dropped
And do you know why? Or what was the reason behind that?
because I was told to lie about what happened to make his charges get dropped.
Did he threaten you that you have the charges dropped?
We've seen that one before too.
All right. So she said that she was told to lie to make sure. That would have been interesting to hear about how that.
Well, she does go on to say I guess he threatened her. She was intimidated by him. But yeah, that's again.
It sounds like she didn't need to lie though. With how much.
T, I heard Vanessa loves a good foot rub. down under.
Okay, I'm
I
just
didn't
gonna.
hear her answer.
Oh, I said yes, he did threaten me.
Okay. I'm just going to bring up an exhibit. Just bear with me, and I'll share the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I need to
Oh, yes.
enable that.
Sorry, yes, could you please, Judge?
Yeah.
Evident. Get ready.
Okay, you should be able to now.
Okay, can you see this exhibit?
Yes.
Look how nice that looks.
And can you tell the court without reading what's on there yet what this is?
It's messages between Andrew and I.
And is this a true and correct copy of messages that you exchanged?
Yes.
And who is this at the top where my cursor is, the LEIL?
It's a fake account that Andrew and I made because he wasn't allowed to talk to me at that time.
Okay.
I attribute a lot of this to her age, though. I mean, she
that's
said
true.
he
Again,
got her
she-
at 15. They only made it, what, like 3 more years? So she might have made it to 18, 19. Fake account. I mean, really, it's not good, but at least she does have all this information.
Yeah,
And
it does make sense. You're right. With their age, I guess sneaking her out of the.
the same, it does. None of it's excusable, though.
No, definitely not.
But there's plenty of reading. Don't worry, and they'll read them to you.
Your Honor, I move to admit respondents 3.
All right. Mr. Boyer, do you have any objection to the admission of respondents 3 into evidence?
I do not, Your Honor.
Right. Respondents 3 is admitted.
You can't come back and do
Can
what?
you read
My,
for me here
what?
with this? Sorry, this is Andrew in the black here.
Yes.
And can you read his message to you?
Here we go.
He said, here's how this is going to work. You're going to make sure that the charges get dropped. You're only going to text me to keep me updated on my child. And when it's born, you're going to help me revoke my rights so that you can't come back and fuck me in the ass every time you get mad at me.
So that's a big request. He's saying, look, don't bother me with this kid stuff. No more. And he wants to revoke his rights at this point.
That's a good point. Yeah,
So now he wants all the rights.
not looking good. Oh,
No,
boy.
he's not looking good at all. And thank God he doesn't have an attorney.
Okay. So this was his threats to you for you to try and get the charges dropped.
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell the court about what happened in May of 2020? Is there an incident?
I was 4 months pregnant, and Andrew and I had to go to a doctor's appointment for some blood testing. I found out that Andrew did drugs the night before, and I confronted him about it, and he got very angry once I told him that I didn't feel comfortable with him being around me or our child if he were to continue to do psychedelics.
Psychedelics.
He
Doing
got
them
very
shrooms or
angry
something?
and
Drop his
started
mask?
to punch his window shield, rip off the sun visors, punch the steering wheel, try to break the steering wheel. And then he turned around towards me and he punched me in the face, resulting to me having a black eye and a cut on my cheek. And then
So he beat up the car first.
Must
And
be
then
enough, but it wasn't
he
enough.
gave her
So we went for her.
Again, this is why she's pregnant, right? That can't be good.
he started to drive at an insane speed in the neighborhood. And then all of a sudden, I didn't know where we were. We were driving very fast, and he started to scream at me and tell me that he was going to kill me. So I started to record on my Apple Watch of what he said to me.
Okay. I do have the audio of that recording.
Oh, you do
let
you?
me just
She does.
Oh,
before I start playing it.
good for her.
Ducks in a row, Creed.
Is the audio
Perfect.
a true and correct copy of the recording that you made that day?
Yes.
And How did you take the audio again?
On my Apple Watch.
Okay. And has it been altered in any way? Your Honor, I move to admit Exhibit 12.
Any objection, Mr. Boyer?
No, Your Honor.
Respondent's 12 is admitted.
Your Honor, do you require me to share my screen when I play the actual audio?
If I can hear it, I don't think there's nothing to see unless it's a video file. But
No, it's just the audio in the box. So okay.
Yeah, as long as it's audible, then it doesn't need to be shared.
I always commend
might have
and
to make it audible.
I'm happy people that show up
I might share it
with some proof.
I mean, and don't talk about it. Be about it. We hear these people all the time. I've got this and this, and they're like, "Where is it?"
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, let that stuff. Already, even if she didn't say anything, she didn't read it. We look at that text message right there, and we get a very good sense of little Andrew's about. Flush it, thank you. Speaking of running a trade, I'm looking for the Estrogen Express. Thank you, Flush. Appreciate it. 5 balls.
Flush it, yeah, on it. So yeah, anytime, again, if you ever think about going to court without a lawyer, let this case be a very good example to why you may need one.
just in case. I have practice, it did work. So
Excuse me while I peruse her Facebook.
I don't see why you had it put in the face.
I don't see why you have to be where you are. Why you have to accuse me, why you have to treat me like I'm a child. That's what makes me so fucking angry at you.
You do that to me, Andrew.
Because you are a child.
You can't treat me like that and expect me, when I'm mad at you, to treat you like a pretty pony princess.
What?
Not just fucking loser who doesn't think
I didn't say you were a loser.
I have to drive a
He's a
1,000
loser.
miles away and fucking murder you just to come in.
My goodness.
Like we were saying, just let the audio do its thing.
I'm not trying. I only call you a child after you do this. That's it. That's all I do. Okay? Slow down.
He ate too many mushrooms too, I think.
He might have.
I like that. He starts like this.
take a deep breath if you need. So do you have, during that car ride, did you have any idea of where he was driving?
No.
Do you know how fast he was going?
I couldn't see the speedometer, but all I could really see out the window was just a blur.
And you were pregnant at this time?
Good description.
Yes.
And
A blur.
were you afraid for your life during that car ride?
Yes.
And is this an example of the rage that Mr. Boyron is capable of?
Yes.
And was this rage common throughout the time that you've known him?
Yes.
No, he's only a year old.
Do you have any idea what has caused this kind of rage?
Drugs?
I mean, I could say his bipolar that's unmedicated, or just, I'm not really sure.
Okay. And so other than the physical abuse, did he also sort of abuse you via electronic communication, text messages, things like that?
Am I the only one that felt like when we were listening to that, it was almost like we were listening to that Mel Gibson recording when he just called that lady and started yelling at her?
My God, yes.
That was very reminiscent. I will come a million miles just to kill you. I mean, when he asked, what do you think made him act this way? Well, he's on the drugs, Your Honor, and he's a complete loser, an a-hole, and he likes to beat up cars and drive fast.
Yes.
And did you ever have to do anything to protect your text messages so they weren't lost?
I would screenshot them and send them to a friend of mine who would keep them in a flash drive, because Andrew would go through my phone and delete everything.
Wow.
She's
And
good.
even after your relationship ended,
Very
did
smart.
he still
Yeah.
threaten and abuse you via some text message, Instagram, Snapchat messages, etc.?
Yes.
Okay. We're just going to go through a few of those.
Oh, lovely. Few more examples of Andrew's psychoses.
And so do you recognize this exhibit here?
Yes.
And without reading it, first of all, what is this?
It's a message from Andrew in a group chat with his mom and I.
Oh my God.
A group chat with
shit.
his mother and her.
Oh God.
Now you want to talk about a mama's boy. You know,
I mean to laugh, but
it's terrible, you know. But the things that we're going to hear here in just a second, I mean, if he's not on drugs, he is definitely a wordsmith.
You on drugs?
So who is this, the circle with the eyes?
With the
That would be
psycho
Andrew's
eyes.
contact.
And who is this one here?
That's his mom's contact.
Let it be said that Andrew's little photo there, his little profile, are like the two craziest eyes you've ever seen.
Okay. And this is a true and accurate copy of the text messages you exchanged?
Yes.
You're on a move to admit respondents number 1.
Mr. Boyden, do you have any objections?
I do not.
Respondents 1 is admitted.
Can you read from the beginning here? And this,
sorry,
What
dog
he
is
said.
barking uncontrollably.
It's all right, Creed. It's time for story time, baby.
sent to you?
Yeah. He said, "Why don't you go fuck yourself, you chirpy infested cunt? I'm sorry that I didn't make you smarter when I put my fucking fist to your ugly ass face. Come say all your hurtful words towards us all you want, but at least we aren't a white trash piece of shit who doesn't give 2 fucking shits about our children. All you are is a failure. Your mother and father don't even fucking want you, but I guess that's why you're so angry with life. Tell your mom if she wants to play lawyer. I'm happy to play along. I'd love nothing more than to put you and your entire family into the fucking ground. Take your clown ass back to the fucking circus and live up to the only potential you will ever have before you say the wrong thing and end up living in a cardboard box under a bridge."
Love, Andrew.
I don't,
P.S. My mom says ditto. I mean,
not that I'm saying anything good about Andrew at this moment. I have to say this though. I think he played it right coming in here. I'm saying if I was a big POS and I did this and I knew that she had a lot of receipts and I knew I was going down looking this way, at least he admitted that. A lot of people just sit there and not say anything. Not a thing. Anything good you can say. That little bit.
what do you think about the mom being included in this?
Why is she included in on that? I don't know. That one was a real
We're going to CC my mom on this.
the mother thing is very weird. Now
again,
I understand a little bit more why he said what he said right off the bat. I get it a little bit more now.
And all this evidence that she's presenting, by the way, the lawyer saying, you know what, I don't want to question him yet. I'm going to do that after my client has presented.
The other thing, and I think 2 or 3 of you had said something in there that same thing. I would hate to make her. I hope that they asked her if she wanted to read these out loud in court. You know what I mean?
I think they're just more impactful hearing her say them,
Oh,
you know,
true.
other
That's
than
a
the
good
attorney
point.
reading them.
Yes, look at the lawyer Mikey, a lawyer to be. You're right, though. No, it's true.
Them books ain't for looks, bud.
You mean that?
And again, is this typical of the
Yes.
kind of communication that he's sent you throughout the time you've known him?
Yes.
And he has admitted to basically laying his hands on you.
Yes.
He just did in the text.
Just going to bring up another one.
You're getting the backstory. This is it. They were together,
Tons
had
of
a
it.
child together, and he's
Now he wants more time with the child.
yeah.
And you recognize this message, this exhibit?
Yes.
Texas.
And what is it?
It's a message between Andrew and I.
And this is Andrew's contact up here.
Yes.
And has it been altered in any way? You're on a move to admit respondents number 2.
And again, look
Any
at
objection, Mr. Boyarin?
Andrew's profile picture.
No, Your Honor.
Crazy eyes.
Respondent 2 is admitted.
They're perfect.
So do you want to read from the top here what he's saying to you?
Yeah, he said, I want you to know that I love you so much, and I know I've made things very difficult in our relationship, and that I say things like this all the time, but I'm sorry. I always tell myself I don't want to be with you. I'm sorry, I just lost my spot.
Oh, sorry. Here.
I don't want to be with you, but then when you're gone, I get all sad inside and I just want to give up. I shouldn't have laid hands on you the way I did. It was wrong and I won't forgive myself for it. And I don't even know what made me decide to do it. All I do know is that it's never going to happen again.
You can stop there. So
Oh, Andrew.
Oh, good for you.
again, he's admitting that he's laid his hands on you.
Yes.
And did he continue to still lay his hands on you, even though he said in that message that he won't do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice backtrack job, bud.
I'm gonna bring up another.
I mean, that's some kind of bipolar manic stuff
Oh,
there,
yeah.
right? I
It's
mean,
all over the place. Yeah.
The minute that you do something bad,
And do you
come back.
recognize this exhibit? Can you read
Snapchat?
it?
Yeah.
And what is this?
Oh, that's gonna be hard to
It's messages between Andrew and I on Snapchat.
And is this a true and correct? Excuse me, a true and correct copy of the messages?
Same line.
You are moved to admit respondents 9.
Any objection, Mr. Boyarin?
No, Your Honor.
Respondent 9 is admitted.
Sorry, 8.
You feel like if he had
Himself,
if he had a lawyer, do you think the lawyer would be like, we'd like
no.
validity of this, or I mean something, anything? The
Yeah,
family
no.
that's going to live under the bridge.
A lawyer
Can
to
you
take
read-
this one would be.
Oh,
imagine. I mean,
you're under a pile of crap already.
Hear what Andrew said to you?
Yeah. He said, I hope that fucking baby dies inside of you.
oh my God,
And what about down here?
Andrew.
Wow, Andrew. I mean,
This
damn it,
one's
Andrew.
This one's a case.
What? I mean, again, why are we doing all this? Because he wants more time with the kid. He wants the child
Yeah, and he,
more.
if I'm not mistaken, well, in the one text message he did, basically said he didn't want to have anything to do with the baby.
Oh yeah, he was going to give up all of his rights. Now he's
Now-
here,
Now, all of a sudden.
saying this and wishing death on their unborn child.
Yeah.
He said, you need an abortion.
And again down here.
He said, fucking stupid fucking cunt. I fucking hate you. It's like you can't just fucking leave me alone. Why do you think I fucking laid hands on you? You give me no fucking choice of anything. I fucking hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. You ruined my life.
So again, he's admitting that he's hurt you,
Yes.
but in this instance, he's blaming you.
Yes.
And was it usual for him to blame you when he would hurt you?
Yeah.
Can you imagine her as a teenager, as a mother, expecting mother, having to, I hope
world.
that she had
Yeah.
a really good like network
Support
of people
system. Yeah.
around with her, and I really hope that she actually like during this reached out and didn't hold this one back, because my God, I can't
Well,
imagine.
obviously, she said she had a friend she was sending all these screenshots to hold on.
Oh, that's good.
You know, it seems like he wants to say her family doesn't care about her, but again, that's just him trying to beat her down, manipulate her, and continue to, try and control her. Like, nobody cares about you. That's why you're with me. The big daddy loser.
Yeah, remember she was in the one as a
Oh yeah,
group.
his mom knows all about it. She's in the next room, I'm sure.
Those. Okay. So since you've separated, has his pattern of threats and abuse
Sorry, Jim.
continued?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell the court what happened in April of last year?
I went over there to drop off my son. And he and I got into we got into an argument over one of his friends that I did not feel comfortable being around our child due to their past of drugs. And He told me to leave. He screamed at me to leave. So as I was walking to the door, I said something like, I don't want them around him. And he slammed me up against the wall and headbutted me really hard where my head swung back and hit the wall. And he screamed in my face. His dad was there and was holding our son. And
if the other words that are about to come out of her mouth aren't that his dad reached over and punched him as hard as he could in the forehead.
Good point.
I mean, his father is here witnessing him slam this girl against the wall, headbutt her while he's standing there with their child.
he didn't do anything at first until our son started to cry and told us to separate and hug it out. So my son didn't think anything was wrong. And I left and called the police.
Where were you when you called the
Good for her,
police?
at least.
I was in the parking lot outside of his apartment in my friend's truck.
Okay. And the police came?
Yes.
And what did the police do?
They talked to me. They arrested Andrew and they gave my son to his parents.
Okay. And do you know why they gave Hayden to his parents?
Arrested him, then gave the child to his parents. Again,
that would make me nuts, that part of it.
I mean, I'm not for beating on anybody, but sometimes you've got to do something. You got to put this kid back in line. You can't, unless this is what's going on at his house.
So far, from what we understand, he's only spent one night in jail for 24 hours.
We do find out later on he's got pending charges.
Good. Thank God.
They said it was because his parents were older than me and they trust his parents more, and because his parents said that I'm neglectful to my child.
Oh,
they raised such a great son. We should trust them for sure with parenting.
Yes, right? Whoever made that decision, I hope that they're not doing their job these days.
To me, that's a decision shouldn't have been made because she
really
brought the kid over to him.
Yeah, this is the second one here.
Yeah. So once again.
Okay. And was CPS also called?
Yes.
And did they do an investigation?
Yes.
And do you know what the result of the investigation was?
I'm not really sure. They just dropped the case.
Okay. And did they help you get Hayden back?
Yes, I was told I was allowed to go get my son the next day from daycare.
Okay. So prior to you having an attorney, did Mr. Warren try and force you to sign an agreement that he's...
Yeah, we have to record these. Hector, you know how it works. You record stuff off of YouTube all the time.
Previous attorney had drafted?
Yes.
Okay. And did he sort of bully and threaten you throughout that process?
Yes.
What kind of threats did he make if you wouldn't sign that agreement?
He told me if I didn't sign the agreement, he wouldn't let me see my child, and he kept my son from me.
Okay, I'll share my screen again.
Please like this video. Thank you.
Okay, can you see this exhibit?
Yes.
And what is this?
It's messages between Andrew and I.
And this is Andrew, the contact up the top?
Yes.
And is this a true and correct copy of the text messages you exchanged?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit respondents 4.
Any objection, Mr. Boyeren?
Pleasure hearing.
Oh, Your Honor.
Respondents 4 is admitted.
Better late than
And
never.
can you read here what Andrew was saying to you?
Yes. He said, I want you to stay the fuck away from me and my family and sign the fucking agreement already so that you don't argue with me about everything.
And what is he saying down here?
I said, I'm sorry. He said, you don't have...
That was just that we're going through each thing. That was that fight for that. And it took the kid.
Yeah. So yeah, they have
anything permanent.
Yeah. It was right then. It was like a knee jerk reaction, I'm guessing, by the police because she had just been assaulted.
Right.
And she was able to get the kid right back next day. And she said the CPS case was dropped, which I'm guessing because there was nothing CPS can do about him assaulting her or to keep the child away from her. So they couldn't prove anything. So they generally, it was like, oh yeah, you can have your kid back. You had nothing to do with this. But I like that she said she would, sign it after her mom and her lawyer had gone over it. And I guess he really didn't like that either.
A
This is a tough
lawyer,
one, Cole.
Kita, the only
Ugh.
lawyer you have is your mom's debt from clown school. You're a clown, your mom's a clown, and your entire family is compromised of either rich idiots or redneck incest idiots. And just FYI, there's going to be probably a lot of shit on the agreement that you won't like, but the stuff that you're not going to like was assigned by a judge. So if you don't sign it at all, it cost is $3,000 more to force your fucking signature on their cunt, herpes infested cunt.
Okay, so he's got Andrew has two things he likes to go back to: herpes and the C word,
Yes,
and clowns.
Clown thing's really weird though. Really,
was her family ever part of like the real circus or something? Because he said they got to go back to the circus. Your mom went to clown school.
I mean, there is a real clown school, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It's an honorable profession, but I just really don't see it happening here. I mean, far be it from me that they aren't from a long line of clowns, but in the herpes thing, do you think? Any validity to that? I don't even think that's.
I don't know. That's. I mean, it's coming out of his mouth, so probably not.
Yeah.
I mean. I could see him coming back at him not even having it and saying, "You gave me the,
Oh yeah,
sleeping around, have you? You've been, you know what I mean?"
He's the one been, catting around.
Yeah, right. I'll be right back.
Okay, and this was during the time that he wanted you to sign the agreement that his attorney had drafted.
Yes.
Sorry, excuse me. And you didn't sign that agreement?
No.
I'm just going to bring up another message.
Yeah, there you go. The clown thing is it's a bit much.
And can you tell the court what this exhibit is?
It's messages between Andrew and I.
And is this a true and correct copy of the messages you exchanged?
Yes.
I move to admit respondent 6.
Any objection, Mr. Boyer?
No.
Respondent 6 is admitted.
And what is he saying here when my cursor is?
He said, I am calm, Kita. I'm just tired of waiting on you to bullshit around. If you had questions about the agreement, you could have called my lawyer to ask about them. I am done waiting on you. So until you sign that fucking agreement, I'm going to be a dick, even if I feel bad about it. And even if I know it's wrong, but you will not see or have Hayden until you sign that agreement or tell me that you're not going to sign it so I can move fucking forward on what to do next, Kita.
Okay. So this time is he threatening you to withhold Hayden if you don't sign the agreement?
Good to see you, bud.
Yes.
And did he stop you from seeing Hayden during that time?
Yes.
And for how long were you not able to see him for?
About from December to I'd say about March, maybe.
Of 2021 going into 2022? Yeah. Okay. So for about 3 or 4 months, you really didn't get to see Hayden much at all?
Yeah.
And when did you get to have him back in your care again?
I got him back the day after he got arrested in April of 2022.
Okay. And during this case, did the two of you have an agreement that you would both share the cost of Hayden's daycare?
Yes.
Sorry, excuse me, a bit of a cough. And you filed, there was a Rule 11 agreement that was filed for that, wasn't there?
100%. He's been an absolute ass the entire time. There's no reason. I mean, this is just, we're just writing a book, building a bridge. I mean, Great Wall of China of abuse and just downright nastiness.
I'm sorry, one more time.
There was a Rule 11 agreement that the attorney signed regarding daycare expenses.
Yes.
And how long did that agreement last for before Mr. Boyer stopped paying daycare?
I'd say pretty sure it's like a month or two, if I remember correctly.
And could you afford the total cost of the daycare?
No.
So what ended up happening?
I used all of my tax return to pay for what I could and pay off the debt that was owed. And then after that, Hayden was kicked out of the daycare due to us being really late on payments.
Wow.
And is he currently in daycare now?
No.
So has Mr. Boyer contributed to any cost with regards to any daycare expenses since then?
No.
And is one of your requests today that he be responsible for 50% of the daycare until Hayden starts kindergarten?
What's up, Eric?
Yes.
This
And with
relationship.
regards to decision making for Hayden,
I'm sorry.
with regards to decision making for important things like medical and education needs for Hayden, how do you feel if you had to constantly communicate with Mr. Boyer about that?
I feel like if I have to have
Just
his
when you think
agreement on it,
just when you think that it can't get any worse, then you find out that he isn't even paying anything.
Yeah, he's not even holding it.
else.
Yeah, let's get this agreement signed so I cannot do any of it. It's where we're at now. Now he's not even able to, pay for the child's daycare, which
At this point, I'm not surprised, but
No.
at the same time, I'm like, man, at least you got to find, she was, when they met, 15 and he was 16.
yeah, that was in 2018. So math, anybody? 5 years ago. So she's probably 20 now. She's not even old enough to drink yet. And she's dealing with all this. It's a lot. Hopefully she's in school or got a good job or something, because he's going nowhere. And I guarantee you, anybody that says he's not at his mom's house right there, that's not his bedroom he grew up in right there.
No, I know. I was thinking that too.
It looks like there's a poster on the wall of Snoop Dogg or something. I can't see it. You see over in the far left side by the judge?
Yeah, you got it at the carnival.
Some sort of poster or something on the wall.
there could be a situation where Hayden really needs help and I'm unable to do it because Andrew disagrees and something bad could happen to Hayden.
Okay. And has he done anything especially during this case, without consulting you with regards to Hayden?
Yes.
And what has he done?
He got my son vaccinated without telling me, and my son got sick with 3 different viruses.
All right. Now, before anybody says anything about all anti-vax stuff, she's going to give you a very good reason here in just a second.
Out of nowhere.
Mom made the bet.
And finally told me that he did get him vaccinated months prior when I told him about our son being sick.
Okay. And is there a reason why you were hesitant to have your son vaccinated?
Yes.
And why is that?
My family has a genetic mutation called MTHFR, which basically there's a chemical that I can't pronounce the name to in our brain that instead of you urinating out the vaccine, it actually goes to our brain instead, and we cannot properly break up the vaccine.
Oh, wow.
Now, he knew this. When she told him, don't get the baby vaccinated. And he still, because he's going to do what he wants to, Creed.
I mean, if you couldn't you get a really good lawyer and go after just that part as if almost like attempted
like he was trying to, in his sick mind, and right now we're spitballing, we're using our imagination,
right.
This is all alleged stuff, but in the mind of somebody who said they didn't want the kid, they wished the baby was dead, didn't want to pay for the kid, and now you find out the kid may have this genetic trait that's passed on through her family.
Wow.
That would keep them, which a lot of people have those kinds of things, keep the kid from being vaccinated, and still decided, hey, I'm going to do it anyways. Makes you think.
Face there too, by the way.
That's excruciating. I mean, Judge is I'm sure a father, a grandfather, and everything else. So he's very sympathetic to these type of things.
I know it's just a perfect spot where you stopped that after such a thing that she just said, but like if you look at everybody's face except for Andrew,
Oh yeah, the body language for everyone except for him. Like, I'm Andrew. Wow, it's definitely puts a question in your mind. It's there in the back of your mind.
Okay. And so were you hesitant about getting Hayden those vaccinations because of your genetic history?
Yes.
And had you expressed that to Mr. Boyron?
Yes.
And what was his response whenever you would express that to him?
He told me that I needed to get genetic testing and show him proof, which I do have genetic testing, which says that I have MTHFR on. And he basically just kind of said that his family told him that he needed to get Hayden vaccinated, and he just did it.
And have you been able to get Hayden tested for that yet?
No, I cannot afford it.
Do you know roughly how much the test costs?
If I do it through 23andMe, it's about $200 something. If I do it through actual genetic testing facilities, they're not covered by our insurance, and it could cost up to $2,000 to $3,000.
Flush it. Thank you.
Again, money is an issue because they don't have it.
Yeah. And so just with regards to, we'll just sum up what you're asking for today. So again, you're asking that you be appointed the sole conservator of Hayden because of the violence and abuse that you've just testified to.
Yes.
Okay. And are you also asking that your address be kept confidential?
Yes.
But Mr. Boyron knows your current address, doesn't he?
Yes.
And is that a temporary address?
Yes.
Okay. And why does he know where you live at the moment?
Because I got into a car wreck in August and didn't have a vehicle to meet him with Hayden.
Okay. But in the future, you don't want him to have access to your residence.
She had to grow up
Yes.
fast, Puck.
And
fast.
you're also asking that that the exchange of Hayden take place in a neutral public location at your choice.
Yes.
Okay. And you're asking the court that they grant the parenting plan that we filed.
Yes.
Okay. And you're also asking that Mr. Boyron pay guideline child support and catch medical support.
Yes.
And that you also communicate only via co-parenting apps such as AppClose.
Yeah.
And that lastly, that he be equally responsible for the expensive daycare for Hayden until he starts kindergarten.
Yes.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Boyron, you're acting as...
And I'm going to say this, asking for just the basics. She really is just the basics she's asking for. And the amount that she's asking for child support is based on minimum wage, not even if he gets a job making more than minimum wage, just based on someone earning only minimum wage.
So basically when you break it down, she's still being really fair.
And I know a lot of people are like, oh, she got a big TV on. That might not even be her room. She's staying somewhere. I'm sure she's,
what if she does? So what if she does? I mean,
Yeah.
you got to think this dude probably hasn't contributed anything other than vax to.
There's really, it's a tough situation for her and the child. And we can all see Andrew sitting there like, it's me, Andrew.
Listen, if she was going for the full boat, every single little penny that she could, she should at this point with the I mean, again, the evidence that she has, it's very, very obvious what has happened is probably, we haven't even heard probably 2% of what has really went on in their relationship.
It's a sad state of affairs.
As your own attorney in this hearing, so you have the right to ask Ms. Robinson questions about the facts or about her testimony if you have questions for her.
I do not, Your Honor.
All right.
Good move.
Your next witness, Ms. Simone.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Andrew Boyron.
All right. Mr. Boyron, you were previously sworn, so you're still under oath. I did want to clarify one thing. I wasn't sure. There was some mention, or is there currently a criminal case pending against Mr. Boyron?
There's 2
All right.
charges, felony and misdemeanor.
Then I need to give Mr. Boyan, I need to give you the following warnings. This is not a criminal proceeding here. This is a civil proceeding. It's a dispute about custody and other arrangements about your child. But anything you say in this hearing could be used against you in the prosecution of the criminal case.
Which he has 2 pending. Andrew's just trying to hurry this up. He's got Call of Duty to play, and his friends are waiting online in the lobby right now.
Yes.
So you have a right to not testify. You can invoke your Fifth Amendment right if you choose. But you just need to be aware of that before we begin. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Simone, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Boyan, without giving the address, where in Austin are you currently residing? What part of town?
In Killeen, Texas. Harker Heights, sorry.
So you're not in Travis County at the moment?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. And who do you reside with?
My grandparents.
Grandparents. Close enough.
Yep.
And I believe you stated before you're not currently employed.
I'm not.
When were you last employed?
In September of 2022.
And who was that with?
I was with an agency, an employment agency. I think it was called Unsafe, but I was working for a company called.
His vocal fry kills me.
Mm-hmm.
He's killing it though. He's nailing it.
Builders First Source.
Okay. And how much were you making with them?
I believe I don't remember the exact hourly, but I was making, I believe, $500 a week.
Talking low, so grandma.
And did you previously work at the Palmer Lane Orthodontics?
I did.
Yeah.
Doing
And
what?
when you were working there, you were earning $17 an hour. Does that sound right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long did you work there for?
I believe a little over a year.
And these jobs you
How do you go from working at an orthodontic clinic to doing temp agency construction?
Maybe they found out how much of a POS.
Maybe all those arrests don't help.
had after Hayden was born?
Hello, Mary.
I'm sorry?
So you were employed after Hayden was born?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And why did you stop working?
Why did I stop working? So I was let go from the Palmer Lane Orthodontics job. I had been evicted from my apartment due to the charges. My son was with his mother at the time, and I was not doing the greatest mentally. So my grandparents offered to have me come live with them and take a few weeks off for a break, and then I would get a job.
Paper mill.
From there, I had started looking for jobs. I couldn't find anyone that would accept me because of the pending charges that I had.
Typically, they don't look at pending charges, though. It's like convictions.
Yeah, good point.
Have you been convicted of a felony?
Unless they really know how to pull papers on people. Yeah, I think you're right.
Or that they live in a small town and everybody knows he's just a giant crap heap.
Also possible that the whole family is well known, because I have a feeling it's not just him, but
it could be.
Until I found the employment with Ausstaff.
Temp agency.
I started applying for schools, and I had let them know about my schooling and how I wasn't going to have the time for the job, and that I would soon be putting in my 2 weeks.
As a man who became a father at a young age,
yes,
I was enrolled in college, and then I had a child born, and I immediately knew I had no time left for college. I needed to work.
Yeah,
way more.
He completely ass backwards there on that one, but okay. For him,
they had let me go because of that, and I immediately started school, I believe a week or a week and a half after that, and have been attending.
So he told his work he wasn't going to have time for work because he had started school and they let him go. Are you effing kidding me?
And Viking, are you ever? Did I say that?
Oh, that's terrible parenting. He had just headbutted the girl in the face. The father should have put him in the claw immediately. The father should have been on the phone with the law.
Absolutely.
School sense.
So how have you been financially supporting your child during this time then?
I am not. My mother is. My mother, my grandparents, my family members.
His family members are supporting the child, not him. Everyone but him.
Have come together, and whenever he needs a haircut, whenever he needs clothes, whenever Kita has asked me for anything, they have said they would pay for it as well.
And when was the last time? So when was the last time you gave Hayden money for Hayden?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
When was the last time you gave Miss Robertson, money for Hayden?
What was that?
The last time I had given her money for Hayden, I hadn't given her directly the money, but I believe I had paid for the daycare up until the point when she had stopped paying for it, which is why I stopped paying for it.
It's fuckle fries.
So you're saying that she stopped paying for daycare, so you stopped paying?
I was given a call by Sabrina Burning from the Children's Courtyard over in Austin off Mopac. She had contacted me and asked me to pay the full amount because it had been 3 weeks since Kita had paid, and they had been contacting her, and she had just been telling them that she could not afford to pay it anymore. So whenever I heard that news, I told them that I wasn't going to pay for the entire amount, and then I said that I wasn't going to pay for the entire amount. I paid for the entire amount for that week, just to give them what they were owed. And then afterwards, I spoke with my mother and I told her that I didn't feel it was fair. She advised me not to stop paying, but I didn't listen and I stopped paying.
Okay. And so, sorry, when was that?
Now, she has just laid this trap for him. Because if we listened, a while ago, she testified that he quit paying for daycare, but she had continued to try and pay for it and just couldn't, even though she's like her tax return and everything else to pay for this daycare once he stopped paying. But now he's claiming she quit paying. And so, he excused himself from that responsibility.
I believe it had to be at least a month after the arrest. So May, probably, most likely.
So you haven't financially contributed since May of 2022?
Not myself personally.
Yeah,
but you also testified that you had actually been working during that time with the agency. So you did have the financial means, but you just chose not to.
True.
My mother was taking care of everything for me as well. I had also
objection to non-responsive. The question is, you haven't financially supported your child.
No, I have not.
Okay. So would you admit that you have struggled with anger issues in the past?
In the past, yes.
Okay. And have you sought any treatment?
I have.
Therapy? Okay. What kind of treatment have you received?
I have received regular weekly therapy from my regular therapist, as well as I have not yet found, but I am continuing to search for a trauma specialist.
And so you heard the audio of
a trauma specialist. But he grew up in such a great household with that great mom and dad that had the kid, remember? What trauma has he been through? Perfect life.
The car ride that we played previously.
I did.
And you were pretty angry in that.
Yes.
Have you ever expressed any of that kind of anger towards your child?
I have never expressed that anger towards my child.
Marcus.
And actually, sorry, strike that. And have you used illegal drugs in the past?
I have.
And what kind of drugs are they?
I was abusing psychedelics and alcohol.
And what kind of effect did it have on your behavior?
I was told by a doctor that I had bipolar and that drugs and alcohol would disturb an electrical imbalance in my frontal lobe, which would cause me to go through mood swings more often than I was when I was sober.
And so when was the last time that you used?
It's probably like 90% of the general public shouldn't drink because of those exact same
I mean,
reasons.
are you kidding me that drugs or alcohol is going to?
Was he traumatized by the constant fear of clowns and herpes?
It's illegal, like psychedelics.
Is he reading it off the ceiling?
He's got his notes up there, Grandma.
Grandma's holding the
recall.
cue card way
has
too
to
high.
be sometime within the last 2 years.
And have you ever used any kind of drug, whether it be psychedelics, marijuana, in front of Hayden?
I have not.
Mm-hmm. She says.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
That's a good edit. Yep.
All right. Boyan, is there any additional testimony you wish to give at this time?
Not at the moment, Your Honor.
All right.
That would have been a good time.
Any
to
other
back
witnesses,
what you said in
Mr.
the beginning,
Simone?
but
Could I just do a redirect with Miss Robertson?
All right. You can call Miss Robinson back, and Miss Robinson, you're still under oath.
Andrew
Miss
really putting the
Robertson,
best foot
you just
forward.
heard the testimony of Mr. Boren about the payment of daycare. Can you just tell the court what actually happened with the payment of daycare?
Here we go.
Yes. So during that time, Andrew and I were splitting 50-50. It was $171 between both of us every single week. So at the end of the month, it was $1,368.
Goodness.
When I got an email from Sabrina, the head director of the daycare, and she told me that Andrew had messaged her and said that he would not be paying for daycare anymore. So
I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to share my screen. I have an exhibit to show you. Just one moment.
Oh, Andrew, the lies.
Can you see this message here?
Yes.
And do you recognize what this is?
Yes.
And what is it?
It is an email from Sabrina to me.
Okay. And this is the true and correct copy of that.
Yes.
communication. Your Honor, I move to admit respondents 11.
Any objection, Mr. Boyer?
No.
Respondent
you-
11 is admitted.
nice as can be.
Would you like to read
Oh,
the court
sweet.
what
Kind
Sabrina is
gentleman.
telling about the payment of daycare?
Yes. She said, "Hi, Kadara. I hope you are doing well and that your leg is healing well. Hayden's tuition has not been paid in full for these last 2 weeks. I know that you had said that you and Andrew would be paying half of the tuition, but he informed me that he will no longer be paying any tuition. I had assumed he had informed you of all this as well. I do not want to get in the middle of this. I just need his tuition to be paid. If the remaining balance of $425 is not paid by 8 p.m. tonight, Friday, 5/27, Hayden will not be able to attend next week. He will not be able to attend until that amount plus next week's tuition is paid in full. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, Sabrina."
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry about that. I'll stop.
Completely opposite from what he
Okay,
said
and
just a
so-
second ago.
Did that tuition didn't get paid? Did it?
I did. I paid it. I paid for his half to keep him in for the next week. I broke my foot. I was on pain medication and going to doctor's appointments, trying to see what all was going on. I could not. The pain medication made me very drowsy and tired. I could not stay awake. So I had a friend of mine take him to daycare and pick him up to help me out. I then got notified. I wasn't able to text Andrew at this time. He had me blocked. I then got notified again that tuition hasn't been paid. I was hoping maybe Andrew just missed a week again. And after that, I tried to pay it off as much as I could with my tax return, and I couldn't do it anymore. So he was unable to return to daycare.
Are you currently working at the moment?
I am now.
Okay. And how much are you earning with that job?
I'm only earning $14 an hour.
Okay. And do you receive income from any other source at the moment?
I'm getting help from Up Together, but I'm pretty sure it expires in April, if I'm correct.
So let's get this straight. He just told a complete lie about the daycare stuff. He doesn't have a job. He needs therapy every week, and he needs a trauma therapist. And this young lady is raising this child and has a full-time job.
She is a superstar. And on top of that, let's not forget, she came with receipts, got a lawyer. I mean,
yeah, you talk about her poor ass. She afforded this lawyer. She worked hard enough to have this lawyer.
Yep.
And so do you think that it's fair that the father of the child should share equally the cost of the daycare expenses?
Yes.
And you would ask that he also pay guideline child support, which is a very low amount of 200 and something from memory.
Yes.
Okay.
$200 and some a month.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Robinson, Mr. Boyeren? No.
Me?
All right.
Yeah.
Any other witnesses, Ms. Simone?
Oh.
Sorry, fine. I know, Your Honor, I rest.
All right. Mr. Boyeren, is there any additional evidence you wish to present?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And the
Nailed
evidence
it.
is closed. Each
Way to
side
go,
may make
Andrew.
a brief closing argument. Mr. Boyeren, you may proceed.
I understand that I am not an innocent person. I am not stating that at all. The one thing I can say is that throughout all of this, the one thing that has remained true is my love for my son. I know that the text messages in the past that you've seen do not reflect that. I will admit I was, I believe, 18 years old. I was addicted to drugs and I wanted nothing to do with a child in that moment in time. But
Nancy, thank you.
Thank
you, Nancy.
ever since he was born, it felt like it really had changed my life. I felt as though I was making steps to become a better person. I wasn't seeing everything for what it was, for sure. In that moment, I was still mistreating his mother. I was definitely a bad boyfriend, an abusive boyfriend for sure. But again, the one thing that remains true to me is that my son has always been the most important thing in my
Cat
life. I
slaughter.
will do anything for him. And
Yeah, cat.
I love him so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you,
Sure,
Mr.
Your
Boyeren. Ms.
Got it.
Simone?
Thank you, Your Honor. I think the court has heard plenty of evidence today that rebuts the presumption regarding the parents being appointed joint managing conservators. While it is somewhat commendable that Mr. Boyeren seems to be on the right track, the law does try and protect victims of violence. And my
Yeah, he
client,
did it right in the beginning too. Greg.
Yeah, he's already done
been
that.
working really
But-
hard to move on
Just because he got 2 criminal cases facing him too. So he needs to look as good as he can going into those.
from that life that she had with Miss Boyeren and doing her best to parent her child. You've heard testimony from my client regarding the injuries she suffered, pending criminal charges, a threat to her life, and a snapshot of the messages that shows very clearly the petitioner's style of communication over the past couple of years. That does show a history and pattern of family violence. It would not be appropriate for my client to have to be a joint conservator with Mr. Boyeren at this time. It's only been the last few months while this case has been going on that he has been somewhat on his best behavior. We don't know if that will continue after this case ends. My client doesn't know if every time she needs to discuss medical treatment or in the future educational needs, whether he's going to snap at her, he's going to resort back to his past behaviors. That would not be in her interest or in the best interest of the child if she had to continuously put herself in that position and have that fear every time she needed to communicate with him. So again, we're asking that my client be appointed as the sole managing conservator with the petitioner as the possessory conservator. There is no doubt that Mr. Boyeren loves his child. That's not what we're contending today, but my client needs to be protected. We're again asking the possession schedule that we have proposed with the custom schedule until Hayden turns 3 later in the year, and then switching to standard possession. With regards to child support, Mr. Boylan has the means to be able to work. He has worked throughout this case. He has earned money. He's no different to any other parent that currently isn't working. He should be obligated to pay guideline child support. I believe he testified that he finishes studying really soon. There's no reason why he can't be paying from
I wonder what he's
February
going to school
1st,
for.
and we're only asking for minimum wage child support and the $57 cash medical support. Again, asking that the parents only communicate through co-parenting apps such as AppClose. That because of all the violence and abuse you've heard today, that my client's address and
Is that one of those apps where
information
like you can see, somebody can see?
and
Yeah, I'm thinking
if
that's
the court is
yeah.
inclined to appoint the parties as joint conservators, I do ask though that my client have the exclusive right to make decisions about medical and education. And regardless of the conservatorship, she actually does agree to have a geographical restriction for Travis and Williamson and the contiguous counties. That's all, Your Honor.
Right. Thank you. Thank you all. Let me start by addressing the issue about the conservatorship. You know, the legislature has said it's a rebuttable presumption that the appointments of the parents as joint managing conservators is in the best interest of the child. But the statute also provides that a finding of a history of family violence involving the parents of the child removes that presumption. And whether parents are joint managing conservatorship or one parent is a sole managing conservator and the other is a possessory conservator does not change your status as parents. You have a child together, you both love your child loves both of you. And either way, you're both going to be very involved in your child's life. Nothing about this is changing any of that. The question really is one of how decisions get made and who has the ultimate authority to make those. And from the evidence presented, the court finds that there is a history of family violence here. I think Mr. Boyan's been pretty
That didn't say enough.
candid about that, admitting to it. I'm glad to see you've intending to make a change and make an effort to do that. I think that's very important because your son looks up to you and he sees you as a role model and he's going to do what you do. And you can show him the proper way that men treat women with.
You guys hear exactly what he just said. Apparently someone in his household, Andrew's household, did not show him the proper way. Again, going back to his family, allegedly. But yeah. And this ends really abruptly. As soon as he says the decision, it's like off like that, so nobody freak out.
With respect, and for him to model, or you can show him the wrong way and he's going to follow what you do. But I think under the circumstances, the most workable arrangement is the parenting plan proposed by Ms. Robinson. And so I will
There it is.
recommend that the orders that Ms. Simone has tendered, the proposed order, be the order of the court. I'm going to sign that today. We're going to get e-filed.
All right, so that was it. He says that's the one we're going with. What the attorney proposed, 100%. That's what we're going with.
Wow.
And I for everyone is like, hey, guess what? People change. Yes, people do change. But remember this: money talks and bullshit walks, and he hasn't done nothing but bullshit so far. So he's got a lot of proving to do.
Oh, even the stuff that he was just saying about, I can't work if I go to school. That kind of stuff just shows you maybe he's not doing the drugs as much. Maybe. I mean, I gotta say that one was a tough one. That one I wish her the best for sure.
Oh my God, yes.
I can't imagine how her life has been.
And to all the people who were watching this live just a few hours ago and that were in the chat, a lot of people had left, and I believe it was this young lady's mother was also in the chat, and she ended the chat by saying, hey, I want everyone in here to know I thank you that was just in here supporting her. She's been through a lot, and us as a family appreciate that. So a lot of people didn't get to see that and had already left the chat, and I just was still there, finishing up the recording. And that was the last comment that came in was from
Pretty awesome.
I'm assuming her mother or another family member that were thanking everyone in the chat that had been so supportive of this
No,
young lady during it.
she deserves the world. That's I couldn't imagine that. I kind of wish that she would have went for more. But maybe she knows that.
Well, he's got 2 criminal cases coming against him that I'm sure are involving her.
Mm,
And that's why the judge said, hey, don't incriminate yourself if you can help it.
Maybe this is somewhat of a preliminary thing, and after the charges do their thing, maybe she'll go back. I don't know.
Do you think she could have won just as easily as she just did now if she didn't have an attorney?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely
because
right.
they'd had to talk to each other.
Mm-hmm. If she would have showed, I mean, just from what we watch on a daily basis, this is where my idea, my answer comes from. But I mean, if she sat there, because let's be honest, a lot of these type of situations are done without lawyers, it seems, from protective order to some custody stuff. But yeah, no, I really think I think that with those text messages and that one piece of audio, and also there was some other allegations thrown her that she threw out there that thankfully they didn't get into, which they didn't need to get into.
Yeah, had no relevance whatsoever.
Right. I mean, she had enough proof as it is. But yeah, I think you're right. Without that,
so much evidence,
this should be all right. But
so much evidence.
Then again, you never know with judges, and state by state, some states have some weird stuff. So glad I hope that she's happy the way that worked out. And,
yeah,
to some extent.
And that's pretty much it for today's show. We'll be back here at 4:05 for We Got a Chase. We ask that you do us a big favor and go over to We Got a Case. That is our YouTube channel that will be exclusively nothing but court cases and things like that. We'd appreciate you going over there and slapping a subscribe over there.
We've seen some people bring it. I mean, you're just screen sharing on Zoom is all you're doing it.
You already had. I felt like her evidence was so overwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, I think that her lawyer went above and beyond what she needed to do. But again, you don't know the judge. You don't know how things are going to work out. So
and this judge was very perfect for this situation.
Yeah,
it really was.
That was a tough one. I'm glad we saw it. And just like the email that we got from Judge Manning, it's eye-opening sometimes when you see cases like this and you think about what these people have gone through and what they continue to fight for each and every day. And guarantee you she's in fear of him no matter what.
Real quick note, Creed. I know you don't know this yet, but our video was taken down off of YouTube. The case, which was Judge Manning and Mr. Pike and the other young lady.
Oh, really?
That video got taken down yesterday. We didn't get any trouble or anything, but it was taken down for privacy. Now, I'd already gone back through and blurred out all the addresses and phone numbers and things like that were in there. So you have to wonder in the back of your mind, who was the person that asked for that to be taken down? Who? But it's been taken down. It's fine.
Not the one in our chat, you mean?
Well, we'll see. Jury's still out on that one. Jury's still out. But we hope to see you guys back here at 4:05 for We Got a Chase. Thirsty Thursday, Creed. Whoa, we love the drunks.
I'm ready.
But we'll be back for that. Creed, want to thank these fine folks.
Yeah, Shells, Terminator, Flusha, times 2 times 3. Shells and Nancy, thank you guys so much. All the comments, the likes, and kind of a difficult situation today.
We made the best of it. We made light of some of the things. And in case you're like, oh, you guys should make fun of that. Well, that's kind of what we're here. We're not making fun. We're making light. We're trying to educate and entertain at the same time. And sometimes it's difficult. But yeah, we'll see you back here at 4:05. And until then, please stay away from the clown herpes.